Night falls early in the mountains near Kumamoto. The kind of night that makes a man hear his own thoughts like footsteps behind him. A Ronin named Haru climbs a narrow path with a wrap blade at his hip and a det in his throat. He isn't hunting glory, he's hunting coin. 3 days ago, a lacquer merchant in the city pressed a pouch into Haru's palm and said, "Musashi is dying in a cave. Whatever he leaves behind will be worth more than rice for a lifetime. Bring it to me." Quietly. Haru didn't ask why a merchant wanted a dying swordsman's words. He didn't ask who else had been offered the same job. He only felt the weight of the pouch and the familiar shame of needing it. By the time he reaches the cave mouth, wind is crawling through the pines like a warning. Inside, an oil lamp burns low. The cave is not a warrior's lair. It's smaller than Haru expected. Bare, clean, a brush, a stone ink dish, a few sheets of paper, 2 plain swords resting like they're not trying to impress anyone. And in the center, a body wrapped in simple cloth. Musashi is already gone. Haru's breath catches, not from grief, but from the strange disappointment of being too late to meet a legend in the flesh. He steps closer anyway, as if the dead man might suddenly sit up and test him. A voice behind him breaks the silence. "Don't touch him," Haru turns. A man stands near the entrance, half shadow, half lamplight. Not armored, not threatening, just steady. The type of steadiness that doesn't need a weapon to feel dangerous. "I'm not here to spit on him," Haru says. "Most men don't think they are." The man replies. "They just behave like it." Haru lifts his chin.
"Who are you, Shani?" the man says.
"I brought him water." Paper. Silence. For years. Haru looks back at Musashi's still form. So it's true. The sword saint dies like everyone else. Shunai's eyes don't leave Haru. He died like he lived. Uncluttered. Haru forces a swallow. "I was told he left something." Shunai crouches beside a low table and slides a small wooden box forward. The wood is plain. No lock. No ornament. As if the value inside doesn't require decoration. Haru's hand moves, then stops. "That's it. That's enough," Shunai says. Haru kneels, opens the box, and finds 21 thin wooden slips, each inked with a single line. The handwriting is count, final, like someone closing a door without slamming it. Haru reads the first slip out loud. "Receive what comes without arguing." He reads the second. "Do not hunt pleasure as if it can save you." He reads the third. "Do not let half feelings steer your life." He looks up confused. "This is what men will pay for." Shunai answers without pride. "Men will pay for anything that they believe will make them less afraid." Haru closes the box. "Then I'll take it." Shun nods once as if he expected that answer. "You can?" Haru frowns. No challenge, no duel, no test. Shunai's gaze flicks to Musashi's wrapped body. "You want a duel with a corpse?" "I want to know why you'd hand it to me." Haru says, sharper than he means. Shunai leans closer, voice low. "Because the men who truly deserve those lines won't come asking for them. They'll be too busy living them. The men who come asking are usually the ones who need them most." Haru's jaw tightens. "And what do you need?" Shunai points toward the city lights far below the mountain. "Deliver the box to the river, temple before dawn. Give it to a monk named J-Sen. Not the merchant, not anyone else." Haru's eyes narrow. "Why should I do that?" Shunai's answer lands like a stone. "Because if you sell a dead man's last truth for comfort, you will be comfortable and finished." Haru stands too quickly. Pride rises to cover the sting. "I didn't come here for lessons," Haru says. Shunai looks at him like he's measuring a blade for cracks. "Lessons don't care why you came." Haru slips the box into his cloak. "Fine, I'll deliver it. After that, I do what I want." Shunai's voice follows him as he steps into the night. That's what everyone says before the road corrects them. Haru descends fast, eager to turn this into a simple job again. An hour later, the first slip stops being ink and starts being a trap. The mountain weather changes without warning. Rain comes hard. The path becomes slick clay. A small bridge over a ravine has been ripped apart by water, leaving only 2 broken posts and a rope line dangling like an old scar. Haru mutters a curse, then bites it back. Receive what comes without arguing. He looks at the river below. Cold, fast, uninterested in his plans, he could turn back and wait for daylight. He could claim the river delayed him. He could invent a story that makes him sound unlucky instead of uncommitted. Instead, he grips the rope with both hands, steps onto a narrow ledge, and pulls himself across, one careful breath at a time. Halfway over, the rope jerks. His foot slips. For a moment, his body drops and his mind flashes with a clean image of falling, breaking, dying alone in a gorge with a box of wood strapped to his chest. Fear spikes. Then something strange happens. He stops arguing with the moment. He stops begging the world to pause. He tightens his grip and moves. When his boots hit the far side, his hands are raw and trembling. But he's alive. He laughs once short, bitter, not at the river, At himself, he walks on. Closer to town, lanterns glow through rain. A roadside stall is still open, smoke rising from grilled fish and sweet soy glaze. The smell wraps around Haru's hunger like a hand around a throat. He has money. The merchant's pouch is still in his belt. He could eat until he forgets he's empty. Do not hunt pleasure as if it can save you. Haru steps to the stall anyway. The old vendor smiles. Hungry traveler. Haru stares at the fish, then hears his own voice surprise him. Rice. Plain, the vendor blinks. Plain rice, plain, Haru repeats. He eats under an awning while rain taps the wood. The rice is warm. It's enough. And in that, enough, he feels a thin edge of power return. Because for once, his stomach didn't command his choices. When he finishes, the vendor gestures to a jug. Sake to chase the cold, Haru's fingers twitch. He wants it. Not for taste, for escape. He shakes his head. Water. And vendor shrugs, pours water, and turns away. Haru steps back into the street, and the third slip finds him. A drunk man stumbles out of a side alley, bumps Haru's shoulder hard, then laughs like he's testing whether Haru is a dog that bites. Ronin, the drunk, sneers. A sword without a master, worthless. Heat floods Haru's chest. His hand drops to his hilt. Anger rises, but it isn't pure anger. It's anger mixed with shame, mixed with the old hunger to prove he still matters. Do not let half-feelings steer your life. Haru inhales through his nose, slow. He watches the drunk man like he's watching a child wave a stick. The drunk leans in, too proud to answer. Haru speaks softly. I'm not proud. I'm just not interested in letting your mouth decide my night. The drunk squints, confused by calm, then spits and staggers away. Haru keeps walking and realizes his heart is still pounding even though his sword never left its sheath. He doesn't feel holy. He feels cleaner. Dawn is hours away. The river temple is still far. He cuts through narrow streets, trying to keep the box dry beneath his cloak. At the edge of the market district, he hears footsteps that don't match his rhythm. 3 sets. Not drunk, not hurried, he turns a corner and they turn with him. A voice calls out, polite as a shopkeeper. Traveler. You look lost. Haru stops beneath a closed tea house. Rain drips from the eaves. 3 men step into lantern light. Their clothes are plain, but their posture is trained. Their hands are relaxed in the way trained hands are relaxed, because they know exactly how fast they can kill. The man in front smiles. We heard you visited the cave, he says. We also heard you left with something small and valuable. Haru's thumb presses against his sword guard. Who told you that? The man's smile doesn't change. People talk. Adepts talk louder. The Haru feels cold behind his ribs. These men weren't sent by the merchant. They feel like something hungrier. The leader nods toward Haru's cloak. Hand it over and you walk away with your life. That's a fair trade. Haru's mind runs fast, searching for the cheapest escape. Then the first slip flashes in his memory like a blade catching light. Receive what comes without arguing. This is what came. Haru exhales. I don't know what you think I have, Haru says, but you're going to have to open my cloak yourself. The smile fades from the leader's mouth. So that's your choice. Steel whispers out of scabbards. Haru's body tenses, and he realizes, with a sudden sick clarity, that Musashi's last words weren't meant to be read in safety. They were meant to be lived in danger. Rain hammers the street. The 3 men step forward. Haru draws. Cut to black. The first strike comes fast, not a showy swing. An efficient cut aimed at Haru's wrist, meant to disarm, not kill. Haru barely turns it aside. His blade rings. His feet slide on wet stone. He's good. Not legendary, but good enough to survive the opening breath. He backs toward the alley mouth where the light is thinner, where their numbers matter less. The leader circles, patient. You're risking death for a box? Haru hears himself answer before he thinks. Maybe I'm risking death to stop being bought. A second attacker lunges. Haru slips inside the line, shoulder checks, and cuts shallow across the man's forearm. Blood sprays dark in rain. The third attacker tries to flank. Haru kicks a puddle into his eyes, then retreats into the narrow alley. They follow. But in the alley, only one blade can reach him at a time. Haru fights without flourish, shortcuts, hard blocks, breath steady. He gets nicked along the ribs. Pain blooms. He ignores it. After a minute that feels like an hour, the attackers hesitate. Not because Haru is winning cleanly, but because he's not panicking like a man who wants to live at any cost. The leader's eyes narrow. Where did you learn that steadiness? Haru doesn't answer. He doesn't even know the full truth himself. He breaks away with a sudden sprint, using the rain and darkness like cover. He doesn't run like prey. He runs like someone making a decision. He vaults over a low fence into a courtyard, lands hard, and keeps moving. Behind him, the leader calls, calm again. You can't outrun men who want what you have. Haru whispers to the box under his cloak, almost angry. Then I'll have to outlast them. He reaches the river road at the edge of town. Dawn is a faint gray bruise on the horizon. He opens the box while walking, fingers trembling from adrenaline and cold. He pulls another slip. Think lightly of yourself. Think deeply of the world. He almost laughs. Now. He pulls the next, cut craving at the root. And the next. Do not bathe in regret. He keeps moving, but his mind is screaming stories. You should have never taken this. You should have sold it. You should have stayed a nobody. You should. He snaps the thought in half. Regret is useless unless it becomes action. A cart is stuck in mud ahead, an old farmer straining, wheels spinning. Haru could pass by. He has enemies behind him. He has a temple to reach. He stops anyway. He puts his shoulder into the cart with the farmer. Mud sucks at his boots. The farmer grunts. Together they heave. The cart shifts, then frees with a wet pop. The farmer gasps, "Why, help me. You're bleeding." Haru wipes rain from his eyes. Because the world doesn't pause for my problems. He doesn't wait for thanks, he moves on. As he walks, he reads more slips, not carefully, but like a man swallowing medicine. Do not envy. Do not be troubled by separation. Resentment and complaint are poison. Do not be led by desire. The river temple finally appears through mist, a low structure of wood and stone, bells hanging still, steps slick with rain. On the steps, a figure stands with a lantern. An old monk, calm as the river itself, Jason. Haru climbs, one step at a time, feeling his ribs throb with each breath. Halfway up, he hears the pursuers again. Closer now, boots splashing in shallow water. The leader calls from below, "Monk, step aside." "This is not your matter." Josen doesn't move. He doesn't raise his voice. He simply looks down the steps like he's looking at weather. Haru reaches the top, drops to one knee, and offers the box with both hands. "From the cave," Haru says. "From Musashi." Josen takes it gently like a bowl of hot tea. "You carried it with your body. Now carry it with your life." Haru's breath shakes. "They'll take it from you." Jason looks past Haru, down the steps. Then they will have wood and ink, not the way. The three men climb onto the first steps, blades out. The leader smiles at Haru. "Good, you did the hard part for us." Haru's hand goes to his sword again. His legs feel weak. His cut ribs burn. Jason speaks to Haru without looking at him. Read the next slip. Haru's throat is dry. "I don't have it, the box." Jason taps the side of his head with one finger. "You already read it. Your mind knows, your bones will learn." Haru tries to remember, hands shaking. He sees the words in his mind like ink on wood. Heave no strong preferences. Be indifferent to where you live. Do not pursue fine food. Release what you no longer need. He swallows. These slips weren't about rice and roofs. They were about survival without bargaining. Haru turns to the three men. "You want the box?" Haru says. "Fine, take it. But you'll take it after you take me?" The leader's smile widens. "So you choose death." Haru hears another slip, deeper than memory now. Do not follow the crowd's belief. He refuses the belief that the strongest man decides what is right. Another slip rises. Do not fear death. Fear hits him anyway, hot animal, because he is human. But he doesn't obey it. He steps down 2 steps, blade angled, stamps low. The first attacker comes fast. Haru meets him. Steel on steel, then slides inside and strikes the man's thigh. The attacker collapses with a strangled cry. The second attacker rushes in rage. Haru parries, gets clipped on the shoulder, pain flashing white. He grits his teeth and counters with a cut across the forearm. The sword drops. The leader remains calm again, watching Haru bleed. "You're a courier," the leader says. "Not a hero. Not a disciple." "Why?" Haru's voice comes out rough. "Because for once, I don't want my choices to be purchased." The leader lunges. Haru's body reacts before thought. Block, step, turn. The leader's blade scrapes Haru's ribs again, hot fire. Then Haru's edge kisses the leader's neck. Not deep. Just enough. The leader freezes, feeling the truth of steel. Rain falls between. Haru whispers, close enough to smell the man's breath. "Walk away." The leader's eyes flick to the monk holding the box, then back to Haru's steady gaze. He lowers his sword first. He backs down the steps, slow, pride swallowing itself. The remaining man grabs his wounded companion and drags him away. Silence returns, broken only by rain and Haru's breathing. Haru's knees give, and he sits on the wet steps, sword still in hand, shaking. Jason sets the box inside the temple doorway out of the rain. Then he kneels beside Haru and ties a strip of cloth around Haru's ribs with practiced hands. Haru laughs once, weak, disbelieving. "I'm not a good man, monk." Josen tightens the knot. "Good and bad are lazy words. Tell me something truer." Haru stares at the rain. "I was for sale." Jason nods. "And now?" Haru swallows. His voice is quiet. "Now I don't know." Jason rises and stands over him like a pillar. "Then read the last slips with your days." Haru closes his eyes and recalls the remaining lines. Each one like a nail driven into certainty. Do not hoard for old age. Respect the divine, but don't demand rescue. Lose the body if needed. Do not lose integrity. Never stray from your way. Haru opens his eyes. What is my way? Jasen's answer is simple. The one you can walk even when no one is watching. The rain begins to soften. Morning light spreads over the river. Haru stands slowly, testing his weight, pain pulsing but bearable. He looks at the temple, the monk, the box that nearly got him killed. Then he looks down the road, empty, wet, endless. He bows once, not to a man, not to a building, but to the moment that changed him. I was supposed to deliver it to a merchant, Haru admits. Jasen's face stays calm. And you didn't? Haru nods. No, Jasen turns toward the temple door. Then you have already begun. The Haru steps off the temple stairs and walks into the morning without waiting for applause, without waiting for permission, without even knowing what he will eat tonight. He only knows the direction. And for the first time in years, that is enough. Years later, travelers speak of a quiet swordsman who refuses bribes, eats simple food, sleeps anywhere, and never complains about rain. They say he is hard to insult and impossible to buy. They say he carries no treasure, only a way. And when a young Ronin once asked him, "What did Musashi leave behind?" Haru answered, eyes steady. 20 boy asked, "Can I read them?"
Haru shook his head, no.
The boy frowned. Why not? Haru looked down the road and replied, "Because reading them is easy. Carrying them costs blood." Then he walked on alone, without loneliness, because the path doesn't need company. It only needs commitment.